Hello, my name is Tim Mosser. This report is going to be on a feasibility study I did on determining whether or not to replace two aging vehicles with one new vehicle. I'm going to be following along a PowerPoint, which you should have. If you have it open in front of you, you can follow along as well. I'll tell you when I'm switching slides. The problem I have is currently I have two vehicles. I have a 2005 Pontiac G6. It has about 72,000 miles on it. It's a four-door sedan. Gets pretty decent gas mileage, pretty comfortable to drive in. That's my daily driver. Use that back and forth to work on a regular basis. My other vehicle is a 96 Jeep Cherokee. That one's got 150,000 miles on it. It's something we use for pleasure. We do a lot of hiking out in the woods, and we have two dogs that we take for hikes and walks and stuff like that. And we have two small children, so we get them out in the woods and go fishing and stuff like that with that. So that's kind of like a pleasure vehicle. On the second slide, it actually shows pictures of the two vehicles and what they look like. On the next slide, what I'm looking for in a vehicle. Currently, with the G6 and the Jeep, I have room for 4 adults. The Jeep, it's a little bit tighter than the G6, but we can fit them in. So that's something we really need to have, is we do a lot of traveling with friends and with family members, so we want to have a four-seater that can fit 4 adults and go from there. We also have, like I said, the 2 children, so we have to have room for 2 kid seats in the back. And like I said, we have the 2 dogs, so the cargo area has to have room for the 2 dogs, since the back seat's going to be filled up with the car seats. And we do a lot of golfing, so it's important that we have room for the golf clubs and stuff like that. The other thing that we really are looking forward to is the ability to go off-road. The Jeep has a lift kit on it. We do a lot of off-roading out into the woods to do our hiking and stuff like that. That's a little overkill for really majority of what we do. I don't need anything that extreme. If I would get a new vehicle, it will be a daily driver, so I don't want it to be quite so rough to drive around in. So I need something that can do Jeep trails and mild off-road trails, but nothing too aggressive. On the next slide, you'll see, after doing some shopping, what possible replacement cars we came up with. The first one was a 2013 Jeep Grand Cherokee. The sticker price on that was about $43,000. It was very comparable to the other Cherokee that I currently have. It's the newer body style, obviously, and it's a lot more refined than mine. Mine was rather utilitarian and very rough. The other car we looked at is a Toyota 4Runner, 2013 Toyota 4Runner. Very comparable to the Jeep Grand Cherokee, actually a little bit bigger. The cargo area was a bit bigger, but if you compare the two, on all the tests that have been done, they're very comparable off-road. The fuel efficiency is very comparable in them. They're pretty competitive with each other. On the next slide, we'll go into some of the pros and cons. Even with keeping the existing cars, there are some pros and cons with that, and then as well as the new cars. The first one I'd like to talk about is the maintenance costs of the existing cars. They're both getting up there in age. I did some research, and the average hourly rate for a car mechanical shop in Pennsylvania is $96 for a franchise shop, which is like a Maaco, a Midas, Meineke, something like that. For an independent shop, like a mom and pop privately owned shop, you're looking at about $78 an hour. So, and that's not really doing anything. That's not parts and everything. That's just labor for every hour they work on it. One thing right now, the Pontiac G6, the air conditioner is bad. The air compressor is gone. The AC compressor is gone. When I did some searching around, I'm looking at about $250 to $325 just for the air compressor. It's also about a 4-hour job to have that installed. So I'm looking at another $300 to $385 for labor just for that part. it starts to get pretty expensive. You're looking at around six to $700 for just getting that AC compressor done. Then that also doesn't really include, you got to add refrigerant, and chances are good when you start tearing it apart, you're going to find out belts are worn, seals are worn, O-rings, stuff like that has to be replaced as well. That starts adding even more money to it. With cars at the age that they are, other possible issues I'm going to have is we're looking at timing belts, transmissions, fuel pumps, exhaust. That stuff it's right at that age and that mileage where that stuff's really going to start going. So that's other stuff I have to start worrying about. The next pros and cons is the cost of a new vehicle. Like I said, the sticker price for the Jeep was $43,000 and change. After talking to the dealer about with the trade-in and what rebates they have going, I was still looking at a purchase price of $35,775. For the 4Runner, that had a $41,000 sticker price. After trade-in and rebates, I was looking at $31,500 for that purchase price. That's a lot of money to try and absorb when all I really have is, right now, a handful of maintenance issues with the two cars I have. The next, I guess, con would be fuel efficiency, gas prices and fuel efficiency. The Pontiac G6, I said, gets pretty decent gas mileage. Around town, day-to-day driving back and forth to work, I get about 25 miles per gallon. On a highway, on a trip, we're looking at about 32 miles per gallon, which is pretty hard to beat. The 4Runner, if you go by the sticker, it's between 17 city and 21 highway miles per gallon. And the Grand Cherokee is very similar at 17 and 22. With gas at about $3.65 right now a gallon, a typical 12,000 mile a year, if I figure the G6 is going to average 25 miles per gallon, which is a little on the low side, that's what I get weekly, so it's going to be a little bit higher than that when you factor in trips and stuff like that. And if the other two, the new car would average about 18 miles per gallon, which is probably about where it would if their numbers are correct. I'm looking at $2,300 more a year in gas just with getting the new cars. The last pros or cons that I really want to talk about is auto insurance. Currently, right now, the Jeep is $397 a year. That's full coverage. I have collision and comprehension, everything on that. The G6 is $419 a year, full coverage, for a total of $816. For a 4Runner, which is the only one I really talked to my insurance agent about, it was $444 a year. That turns out to be a $372 savings a year, which isn't bad. But when you look at what the cost of the car is going to be, that starts to add up a little bit. So in conclusion, it's not really feasible from a financial aspect to get a new car. At the prices we were talking about, $35,775 for the Jeep and $31,500 for the Toyota, we're looking at $650 a month for the Jeep and $573 a month for the Toyota. That's at a 60-month loan for 3.5% interest, which is probably pretty good right now. I'm not sure you can get it much better than that. Chances are it's going to be up around 5%, which is going to be even worse. A lot of that depends on your credit and stuff like that. When you look at repairs, and really what's wrong with my vehicles right now, it doesn't make sense. Now, if the cars start to act up and start to really give me a hard time, and it's in the shop a lot and it's requiring a lot of repairs, then it quickly becomes, it's still financially going to be better, but it becomes a logistical issue with getting a new car. But right now, I don't think that's really necessary. So I think right now it's feasible and it's better, and it's not feasible to get a new car. So I'm going to stick with the old existing cars. This kind of works with pretty much any car that you look at. Chances are good you'll never be able to financially say it's better to get a new car. It gets to the point where your existing car breaks down or something like that, or it just becomes too much of a hassle. It's still financially better to repair that, but it just becomes unlogistical or unreasonable to repair that. So hopefully this helps you out, and hopefully you enjoyed it, and thanks for your time. Thanks.